All right, so are you ready to unlock like your body's full potential?
Yeah,
That's awesome. But who has time to like sift through all the advice out there?
I know, right?
That's where Tim Ferriss and his book, The 4 Hour Body, come in. He's all about hacking the system, finding shortcuts and unconventional methods to achieve amazing results. We're diving deep into the most intriguing experiments, and trust me, some of this stuff is seriously mind-bending.
Yeah, what's fascinating is Ferriss doesn't believe in endless hours of just grueling work. He's all about working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
His philosophy revolves around this idea of finding the minimum effective dose,
Okay.
the smallest amount of effort that yields the biggest impact.
Okay. I'm already intrigued. Less work for better results. Sign me up. So where do we start?
Well, it all begins with a Harajuku moment.
A Harajuku moment.
Yeah, it's that sudden realization like a lightning bolt
Mm.
that motivates you to change. Ferriss uses this term, inspired by his friend Chad Fowler, who had this epiphany while on vacation in Tokyo. He realized his weight was holding him back and decided to prioritize his health. A year later, he'd lost over 70 pounds.
That's an amazing transformation, but it sounds like it's not just about willpower, right?
Exactly. It's about applying the minimum effective dose, or MED principle. It's like finding the cheat codes to your body's operating system. Ferriss uses the example of Brian McKenzie, a triathlete who slashed his training hours from like 24 to 30 a week down to just 6.5,
Wow.
focusing on targeted strength training and high-intensity workouts. The result? He achieved a top ranking in one of the world's toughest endurance races.
Okay, so less is more. Got it.
Huh.
Now let's talk about something that hits close to home for a lot of us. Food.
Yes.
The slow-carb diet, is it as simple as it sounds?
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Okay.
It boils down to 5 core rules. First, cut out white carbs. Say goodbye to that breadbasket. Second, stick to a consistent meal plan with lots of protein, legumes, and veggies. Think chicken breast, lentils, and spinach.
Okay, sounds doable so far. What about drinks? Can I still have my morning coffee?
Absolutely. Rule number 3 is no liquid calories.
Oh.
So ditch the sugary sodas and juices, but water, unsweetened tea, and coffee are your friends. And you can even enjoy a glass of red wine now and then.
Okay, I can get behind that. Wine is good for the soul, right?
Yeah.
What else?
Rule number 4 might be a bit tougher.
Hmm,
No fruit.
no fruit.
The idea is to limit fructose intake.
Okay.
Tomatoes and avocados get a pass, though. And lastly, the rule everyone loves.
Yeah.
You get a weekly cheat day to indulge in all your cravings.
Way to cheat day. I thought those were a myth. But that sounds like a great way to stay motivated. So no fruit, but all the pizza I can handle once a week. I can handle that trade-off. But what about breakfast? I've always heard it's the most important meal.
Ferriss is a firm believer in a protein-rich breakfast. He observed how his own father's weight loss stalled when he started skipping breakfast. The key is getting at least 20 grams of protein within an hour of waking up.
So eggs, cottage cheese, maybe a protein smoothie. That makes sense, starting the day with a protein punch to keep those cravings at bay. But what about exercise? What are some of Ferriss's unconventional techniques for shedding fat and packing on muscle?
Well, for fat loss, Ferriss showcases the Russian kettlebell swing as a powerful tool. He shares the story of Tracy Reifkind, a woman who lost over 100 pounds in just 3 months using this technique.
Okay, color me intrigued. Kettlebells look intimidating, but if they can deliver those kinds of results. So how does it work?
It's all about momentum and explosiveness. Picture this.
Ah.
You swing the kettlebell between your legs,
Mm-hmm.
then stand up powerfully thrusting the kettlebell forward. It's like a dance, but a very intense one.
That sounds like a serious workout. But how much time are we talking about here? I'm all about efficiency, remember?
That's the beauty of it. Tracy only trained twice a week, with each session lasting a mere 15 to 20 minutes. Short bursts of intense effort for maximum impact. That's the Ferriss way.
Okay, I'm starting to get this minimum effective dose thing. So
Yeah.
kettlebells for fat loss. What about building muscle? Does Ferriss have a secret weapon for that too?
He does, and it's called Occam's Protocol.
Occam's protocol.
It involves a specific set of weightlifting exercises designed to stimulate muscle growth quickly.
Okay.
One example is the overhead squat, where you perform a squat while holding a barbell overhead.
Overhead squat. That sounds like a recipe for disaster for someone like me.
It's definitely challenging,
Yeah?
but highly effective. Neil Strauss, the author of The Game, used Occam's Protocol and gained 10 pounds of muscle in a single month.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so we've covered diet and exercise, but Ferriss doesn't stop there. He also delves into some surprising territory: sleep and sex. Not exactly what you'd expect in a fitness book.
Right, but Ferriss takes a holistic approach,
Uh-huh.
understanding that these areas are crucial for overall well-being.
So let's talk about spicing things up in the bedroom. What kind of unconventional advice does Ferriss offer?
Well, he starts by revealing some startling statistics about female orgasm rates.
Okay.
Research shows that a large percentage of women don't achieve orgasm during intercourse. To address this, Ferriss turns to some unlikely sources: adult film star Nina Hartley and male porn star Lexington Steele.
Okay, I did not see that coming. Those aren't exactly the names that spring to mind when you think of relationship advice.
Right,
Yeah.
but Hartley is known for her expertise,
Yeah.
and Steele himself praised her skills. Her key advice focuses on the importance of angle and pressure during intercourse. It's about finding those subtle adjustments that can make a big difference.
Interesting. It sounds like being mindful and intentional is key. What kind of specific tips does she recommend?
For example, in the missionary position, she suggests using a pillow to elevate the woman's hips and ensuring the man's pelvic bone makes contact with the clitoris.
Okay.
She emphasizes that it's all about fine-tuning the mechanics to maximize pleasure.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about finding what works best for each individual and couple. But what about libido? Does Ferriss offer any advice for boosting desire?
He does, and it's surprisingly simple: consuming cholesterol-rich foods a few hours before bed.
Okay.
Think 4 hard-boiled eggs. It sounds counterintuitive, but cholesterol is a building block for testosterone and other hormones linked to libido.
Hold on. Isn't cholesterol supposed to be the enemy?
It can be in excess,
Okay.
but in this case, it's about strategically using it to your advantage. Ferriss explains that our bodies produce cholesterol most efficiently at night,
Uh-huh.
so eating those eggs before bed can actually increase hormone levels and boost libido.
Well, that's definitely an unconventional tip. I'll have to give that some thought. Okay, so we've covered diet, exercise, and even spicing things up in the bedroom. What about the all-important realm of sleep?
Ferriss doesn't disappoint.
Okay.
He starts by acknowledging the frustration of insomnia,
Uh-huh.
that feeling of tossing and turning, unable to switch off your brain.
Oh, tell me about it. I've tried everything. Counting sheep, warm milk, meditation. Nothing seems to work. What's Ferriss's secret weapon?
He suggests a surprisingly simple technique: a cold bath an hour before bed.
A cold bath. Doesn't sound very relaxing.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But apparently it's incredibly effective for triggering sleep. Think of it as hitting the reset button on your nervous system. Ferriss learned this technique from his sleep biology professor at Stanford,
Oh, wow.
and he swears by it.
Wow, okay. I'm willing to try anything at this point. But I'm also curious about the concept of REM sleep that Ferriss emphasizes. Why is it so important?
REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, is the stage where we dream, and it's crucial for memory and emotional processing. Ferriss argues that we should prioritize getting enough REM sleep, even if it means sleeping for a shorter period overall.
So it's not just about the quantity of sleep, but the quality. That makes sense. But how do you actually ensure you're getting enough REM?
Ferriss proposes some radical methods like the Everyman and Uberman sleep schedules. The Everyman method involves a core sleep of 4.5 hours, supplemented by 2 20-minute naps throughout the day, totaling just 5.2 hours of sleep.
Okay, that sounds almost doable. What about the Uberman method? That one sounds a bit more intense.
It is. It involves taking 6 20-minute naps evenly spaced throughout the day.
Wow.
Essentially, you're eliminating nighttime sleep altogether.
Wow, that's hardcore. I can't even imagine functioning on just 2 hours of sleep a day.
But I guess that's the point of the 4-hour body, pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible. Speaking of pushing boundaries, I know Ferriss also delves into techniques for boosting athletic performance.
He does. He explores everything from increasing your vertical jump to mastering efficient running and swimming techniques.
Okay, let's talk about the vertical jump. That's something a lot of people wish they could improve even if they aren't professional athletes. Does Ferriss have any quick fixes for that? He does. Ferriss highlights the work of trainer Joe DeFranco, who claims he can boost an athlete's vertical jump in just 2 days.
2 days? That's insane. What's the magic formula?
It's all about mastering the right technique. DeFranco focuses on 2 key elements: arm swing and squat depth.
Okay.
Instead of just relying on leg power, he teaches athletes to start their jump with their arms overhead like an Olympic diver, then swing them down forcefully to generate momentum. He also emphasizes a quick, explosive squat rather than a deep, slow one.
So it's about leveraging momentum and explosiveness, not just brute strength. That's pretty cool. What about running? Does Ferriss have any tips for improving running form?
He dives into a method called the pose method,
Okay.
developed by Nicholas Romanov, which emphasizes using gravity to your advantage.
I've heard of that. It's all about running more efficiently, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
Instead of fighting against gravity, you learn to work with it. The pose method has a few key principles. Leaning slightly forward, landing on the balls of your feet, keeping your knees slightly bent, and pulling your feet up towards your buttocks rather than pushing off.
It sounds like a completely different way of running than what most people are used to.
It is, but proponents of the pose method claim it's a more natural and efficient way to move to. Ferriss himself saw significant improvements in his running after adopting this technique.
So it's like relearning how to run, but with the potential for greater speed and endurance? Pretty fascinating.
It is. And speaking of fascinating, Ferriss's exploration of swimming techniques is equally intriguing. He talks about how he was able to double his swim distance using a technique called total immersion.
Double his distance. That's incredible. What's the secret behind total immersion?
It's all about minimizing resistance in the water and making every stroke count. Ferriss worked with the technique's creator Terry Laughlin and learned to focus on body rotation rather than just arm and leg movements.
Body rotation, so it's less about powering through the water and more about gliding through it smoothly.
Exactly. You rotate your body from side to side with each stroke, almost like a fish. This creates a more streamlined profile in the water, reducing drag and maximizing efficiency.
That makes sense. So it's less about brute strength and more about finesse and technique.
Precisely. You also keep your head down, looking straight down at the bottom of the pool to maintain a horizontal body position. When you breathe, you rotate your body to the side, taking a breath without lifting your head out of the water.
That sounds like it takes a lot of practice to master.
It does, but the results speak for themselves. Imagine swimming twice as far with the same amount of effort. That's the power of total immersion.
It's amazing how much potential we have to improve our physical abilities with the right knowledge and training. But sometimes, even with the best techniques, we need that extra push to perform at our peak. I know Ferriss also dives into the world of competition conditioning.
Yes, he does. He highlights the work of Barry Ross, a renowned track coach who trained Olympic sprinter Allison Felix Ross, developed a method called competition conditioning, which might surprise you. It involves walking, but not your average stroll in the park.
Walking? Seriously, how does that prepare you for intense competition?
Ross had his athletes, including Felix, walking as fast as they could for 15 minutes 3 times a week. The goal was to build up to walking 100 meters in under 23.8 seconds.
So we're talking about power walking, pushing your limits almost like a race in itself?
Exactly. This intense walking actually builds the muscular and cardiovascular foundation needed for high-speed running.
That's fascinating. It's like building up to a sprint by mastering the art of the power walk.
Right? And the intriguing thing is, once you've achieved this base level of conditioning through walking, your body naturally wants to transition to running because it feels more efficient. It's like unlocking a new gear.
So it's almost like tricking your body into becoming a better runner. That's a pretty clever approach.
It is. And it goes back to the core principle we talked about earlier, the minimum effective dose. You're finding the most efficient path to achieving your goals.
This is all so mind-blowing. Ferriss really challenges us to rethink our assumptions about what's possible with our bodies and minds. It's like he's giving us a glimpse into a whole new world of human potential.
He is.
Yeah.
And what I love is that he doesn't present these ideas as dogma. He encourages readers to question, experiment, and find what works best for them.
That's so important. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to health and fitness. It's all about becoming your own biohacker, exploring different approaches, and finding what resonates with your unique body and goals.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of the 4-Hour Body. It's not just a book. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and optimization.
We've covered so much ground in our deep dive today, from unconventional diet and exercise techniques to mind-bending sleep hacks and surprising sex tips.
It's mind-boggling how much Ferriss packs into this book. It's like a testament to his just endless curiosity and his passion for pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
He doesn't just talk about these ideas, he actually tests them out on himself.
Yeah.
And gives you step-by-step instructions so you can too.
It's like having a personal trainer and a mad scientist all rolled into one.
Yeah.
What I find really refreshing is that he doesn't claim to have all the answers. He encourages you to question everything. Find what works best for your body.
Absolutely.
And keep experimenting.
Keep experimenting, exactly.
Yeah.
He empowers you to be your own biohacker,
Right.
to take control of your health and performance,
Yeah.
and to discover what truly makes your body thrive.
That's what I love about the 4-Hour Body. It's not about blindly following someone else's rules.
Right.
It's about understanding the principles, experimenting,
Yeah,
and finding what works best for you.
precisely. It's about taking ownership of your health and well-being
Mhm.
and becoming the architect of your own physical and mental transformation.
So for everyone listening, we challenge you to embrace the spirit of the 4-hour body. Question your assumptions,
Yeah.
experiment,
Yeah.
and find what works best for you. You might just unlock a level of physical and mental performance you never thought possible.
It's an exciting journey, and we encourage you to dive in and explore.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the 4-hour body. We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to take action. Until next time, keep learning,
Yeah.
keep growing, and keep pushing your boundaries.